All right, let's get right into it. Today we are cracking the code on the Microsoft MD-102 exam. Now, if you're an endpoint admin, you already know this certification is a pretty big deal. You also know it can feel like this massive, intimidating mountain to climb. But don't you worry, we're going to break it all down together.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the official blueprint. What's a textbook say you need to know? Then we'll get into the good stuff, the real-world intel on what the exam is actually all about. From there, we'll zero in on the modern skills you have to master, lay out a winning study strategy, and wrap it all up with the single most important takeaway, the cloud-first reality of the MD-102. First things first, let's just look at the official scope. When you crack open that study guide, the list of topics can seem, well, absolutely massive. It covers everything from legacy tools all the way to the latest cloud services.
I mean, look at this. The official curriculum is incredibly broad. It wants you to know how to deploy Windows with modern stuff like Autopilot, but also older, on-prem tools like the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit, MDT. It covers the whole shebang, from managing identity in Azure AD to deploying apps and securing endpoints. It's a lot to take in. And you know what? Frankly, not all of it is equally important on the actual test.
So this is where it gets really interesting. What people who've actually taken the exam are saying, well, it's a bit different from that broad, official scope. The community consensus tells a very different story.
This quote from a recent test taker on Reddit just nails it. The exam is getting a facelift. It's modernizing. It's moving away from the old school topics to focus on the cloud-native tools you're actually using on the job right now. So this isn't just about passing a test. It's about validating the skills that really matter.
And this slide right here, this shows that shift perfectly. On the left, you've got the legacy on-prem world of MDT deployments and group policy. But the exam? Oh, it is pivoting hard to the modern, cloud-focused tools on the right. Windows Autopilot, Intune, and what we used to call Azure AD, now it's Microsoft Entra ID. This is where you need to spend your time.
You can literally see the difference in the management tools themselves. On the left, that's the classic Active Directory console, right? Anyone from a Windows Server background knows that look. But on the right, that's the modern web-based Microsoft Entra Admin Center. That is the environment you'll be tested on. This is where the exam lives and breathes today.
So, what does this big shift actually mean for your study plan? Let's break down the specific, high-value skills you absolutely positively have to master. If you want to pass, these are the areas you have to laser focus on.
Okay, key area number 1, app protection policies. According to folks who've recently passed, this is a huge part of the exam. It's all about one thing: securing corporate data inside of applications, especially on devices the company doesn't even own, like an employee's personal phone. Now, this question right here, this is a classic exam scenario. Just think about it for a second. An employee is using Outlook on their personal iPhone. How do you stop them from copying sensitive email data and pasting it into their personal notes app? You can't manage their whole device, right? So you have to manage the app.
And this is the magic trick. App protection policies give you that granular app-level security. They let you build this secure container for your corporate data without needing full-blown mobile device management, or MDM, where you'd have to take over the whole device. Instead, you can block data leakage, force a PIN just for the app, and, this is huge, even remotely wipe only the corporate data if that employee leaves the company.
All right, key area number 2, autopilot and enrollment. Forget about building and maintaining custom computer images. That's the old way. The MD-102 is all about zero-touch deployment using Windows Autopilot, getting a device straight from the box to a business-ready state with almost no IT intervention.
Now, a critical piece of Autopilot you'll definitely be tested on is the Enrollment Status Page, or ESP. You've seen this. It's that screen the user sees during setup that tracks the installation of all your security policies, your certificates, your applications. Knowing how to configure the ESP to block a user from even getting to their desktop until the device is fully provisioned and secure, that is absolutely vital. So it's not enough to just deploy the device, you have to know how to lock it down. The MD-102 has a really heavy focus on using the native endpoint security tools that are built right into Microsoft Intune. For example, you're going to get tested on implementing passwordless authentication. This is an Intune policy for Windows Hello for Business. This is where you can enforce things like PIN complexity, require biometrics, and use hardware security chips, the TPM, to finally
Finally, move away from those traditional, easy-to-steal passwords.
And you know, test takers consistently report a ton of questions about the different parts of Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. You really need to know the difference between Application Guard, Exploit Guard, and Device Guard. And, maybe most importantly, you have to understand how to apply Microsoft security baselines. These are basically pre-configured profiles that let you instantly apply all the recommended security settings across your devices.
So, knowing what to study is half the battle, right? Now let's talk about how to study it. There's a proven three-part strategy that successful candidates are using, and it works.
And this isn't just theory. Check out this quote from Reddit user SLATG Fitness, who passed on their first try after just 2 weeks of focused studying. Their strategy is the perfect model to follow. It combines the official curriculum, practice tests, and, the most important part, hands-on experience. Okay, let's break that strategy down. First, you start with Microsoft Learn. That's your foundation. It's the official source. Next, you validate that knowledge with practice exams to find out where your weak spots are. But the most important part, and I can't stress this enough, is step 3, get hands-on. You have to spin up a trial tenant, build the policies, deploy an app, run an autopilot enrollment. There is simply no substitute for real, practical experience.
So, after going through the official guide, listening to the community, and laying out a whole study plan, what is the single most important thing you need to take away from all of this? This, right here. This one sentence from that same Reddit user says everything. Even though MDT is in the official books, the real-world exam has left it behind. There is a clear, total departure from these old on-prem tools. The exam has moved to the cloud, period.
And that really is the bottom line. You have to treat the MD-102 as a cloud exam. Your study time needs to be overwhelmingly focused on Intune, Autopilot, and Enter ID. Go deep on app protection and endpoint security because that's where all the tricky scenario-based questions live. And please remember, reading about it is not enough. Hands-on experience is absolutely 100% essential for you to succeed.
So the final question I'll leave you with is this. Does your study plan reflect this modern cloud-first reality? You have to make sure you're preparing for the exam they're giving today, not the one from 5 years ago. Good luck out there.